Very welcome to this new episode of Off to 7,000 Islands. And today this is an opinion video. Again, my name is Eric. I'm a media psychologist by studying it in the university. And today we're gonna talk about a media law, a bill C10 from Canada, which will not just affect Canada, but also the rest of the world. We're gonna talk about what's in it, why the Canadian government thinks their people are obviously stupid, what they should have done instead of this law, and what we can do and what it has an effect on us in the rest of the world who are not Canadian. So let's get into it. So what's this bill all about? Well, this bill was just passed in the parliament and now waits to be ratified basically in the Senate in Canada. And it talks about the broadcasting rules being applied from broadcasting onto YouTube and other streaming services like Spotify as well. And basically lots of Western countries have some kind of broadcasting regulations, and that was to prevent from only the really popular, often foreign, if you're not from the USA, often foreign TV shows and other things to be shown and local and regional content being neglected. Therefore, they introduced those kind of rules that enough Canadian producers, for example, and Canadian local news, local documentaries and so forth will be produced and have space to actually be on the TV or in the radio. That was a good thing for TV, and but the internet changed that thing. Things are now on demand. And basically the big media companies and state-sponsored medias around the world have missed this revolution in media and basically are left out. And that's why those kind of bills, I think, now coming, that they get their share in YouTube. So what does this bill will do when it's in place? It basically hinders content which is not Canadian enough and creators who are not Canadian enough or not Canadian at all to end up often in the feeds, so to speak, in the suggestions from YouTube, Spotify and co. And on the content creators, that of course has effect because the people who especially live from those kind of content, well, maybe your YouTube channel is about cars, Japanese cars, you're Canadian about Japanese cars. Well, you're not promoting anything Canadian, are you? So you don't fall under this regulation. If you're a foreigner and you have a lot of people watching your videos in Canada, if you make English content, that's, well, likely at least, then you will be less suggested because you're not a Canadian. And if you know how YouTube and Spotify work, well, you not just need to have a lot of subscribers, but you also need to grow. How do you grow? You need to be suggested to people. Often that works on the platform itself. And if that's not happening, it will cost basically those jobs and destroy some good content which comes out of Canada and we really love and like. What it means for the public in Canada, of course, the Canadian government thinks they're stupid. So they don't know how to choose their content wisely or not at all. And therefore they need to meddle in the suggestions that the Canadians basically click on the right thing. That's really, really sad because that's not the way forward. So what should have Canada done? And that's now like what media research, psychology research and other research have shown is that basically that in the past people were thinking, okay, if we taught people how to use those machines, then they will know how to handle the content who is accessible by the internet. Well, that's obviously not planned out. Conspiracy theories are thriving in social media. Other things are getting promoted. Radicalization gets done, is happening over videos, over music, and so on. And the need for regulation is clear. So we need new regulations for new media. That's all right. But what should they have done in order to compensate? Well, first of all, they should have invested into media competency. media knowledge and how to handle media. So that is a government job, because that's education. And that should, at least in the Western world, be in the hand of the government. But that costs money, and of course that's not what a government wants to do, spending money. What else could they have done? Well, they could have forced, for example, YouTube to make their algorithm, who is of course changing all the time, make it public, so that we can do a proper research why people actually end up in filter bubbles where they shouldn't have ended up, or why people get radicalized. So there would have been many possibilities to do regulations who would actually help the people in their country. But they chose instead to destroy the content creators, the small content creator, and give more voice to the big media companies, and destroys part of what we have in the internet. It's so free. It's not entirely free, and there need to be rules, there's no doubt, but it's just rules from the 60s, 70s and 80s applied now to YouTube and co. 50 years later. That's not gonna work, and it is just the wrong approach, but it is the easiest approach. So what that has to do with you if you're not a Canadian? One thing, if you're a creator yourself, your content will be less suggested. But if you're just a watcher, then your favorite YouTube channel gets destroyed, because if he lives from it and he is from Canada and he is not applying to those broadcasting rules, well, he basically stops earning money, or enough money to make the content you like. But the worst point of it is that, of course, other Western countries and big media companies will look at that and think, oh, well, you're failing to regulate the companies itself, but we can also push the little creators, the ones who cannot voice so much. And that's exactly what probably will happen, and we need to watch out. And therefore it can easily spread basically to your country as well. So what can you do? And you can do basically one thing. There's a petition for the parliament, and the link is also down below. And there's many more links down below if you want to get informed more, some good resources that you can sign. You can sign that petition to the government as a foreigner as well, to just give it a more voice. Of course, they don't need to listen to you. You have nothing to do with Canada if you're not a Canadian. But it just gives more weight that other people around the world are concerned about that as well. And they support the YouTubers and content creators on Twitch and co. in Canada as well. And yeah, that's just heavy on my mind, because like I was really happy that Canada, when they announced it first, it sounded really good, but what they have done now is really bad and doesn't protect the Canadians from bad content, but just promotes commercial interests for big companies, destroys little creators, and destroys some of the freedom and voices we have on YouTube, and that could easily spread to other countries as well, other democracies. In not democracies, we don't need to talk about it, there's things regulated already. You can share that video, you can tell your friends about it, and tell them to just sign up that little petition down below, and maybe the Senate will not pass that law, or will change it, that it will actually be good and not kill our favorite YouTubers and destroy some of our freedom we have here. Thank you for watching. If you like that video, please give it a thumbs up. The YouTube algorithms, the normal algorithms, will say that's not a video which fits into our channel, therefore it will drop out of the YouTube feeds, and therefore get less clicks. So please give it a thumbs up to push it a little bit, and subscribe to our channel if you found it and you also want to learn more about life in the Philippines or traveling in general. We would be really happy, or just give it a sub and then never watch us again. That also helps, because we need to feed the algorithm. So thank you for watching, and we see you in the next one, where it is again about the Philippines and traveling here around Asia. Thank you very much for watching, and we see you in the next one.
you.